Just take it up to the departure end of the runway, then a left turn and a left downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left base, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final, you're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold, take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see, what we got, a tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here, you clear to land on 9, all the way to the white dot, go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Kennard, just come to the runway and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Kennard's going to have to go around. Kennard, go around. Kennard, go around. Kennard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep your airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the pikeman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Kennard?
Yeah, Kennard.
All right, Kennard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Kennard's got the jet in tight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, you're on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello. Hello. Oh,
The video finished a bit suddenly there, didn't it?
You've got 4, ready, like 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday evening. It is probably peeing down where you are. It certainly is here, and the ground is wet, very wet, and unusable for quite a while. It seems like Gloucester is even got one of their taxiways that's flooded. So hard runway is not always the answer, although it'd be bloody useful right now. So thank you very much for joining us. Have I said Happy New Year, or was I just thrown by that? But if not, Happy New Year anyway. We have got Simon sitting in the green room live. He's going to give us some good news about the weather, hopefully. Fingers crossed, everybody. Fred North, our invitee, is not in the green room yet, but we hope he's making his way, just parking his squirrel somewhere. Otherwise, we'll be making it up. I put on my little Tour de France hat, given he's a French guy. It's kind of like, maybe that I don't know. Anyway, enough of me wibbling. It's time to say thank you to SkyDemon, the first thank you of 2024, for continuing to support and sponsor the live stream. Thank you very much. Here is your weekly tip.
Hi, I'm Rob from SkyDemon, and here's another top tip. Today I'll be showing the flight details menu in SkyDemon, which is where you can set a few details about your flight, which will give your planning a bit more depth. With a route on screen, tap the route button, then flight details. Here we can set various things, such as the aircraft we intend to fly, the amount of fuel we intend to take on board, things like takeoff time, and the cruising level that SkyDemon will use as standard for all legs. You can get to that menu with just one touch by tapping the time and distance readout in the top center of the screen. For more information, check out our website www.skydemon.aero.
Good tip.
It's a good one.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Right. It's raining where I am. I know it's raining where Ian is. I know it's raining where Ed is. It's probably raining where Dave is.
Oh, definitely.
That leaves a question. When will it end? And there's one man that can tell us that.
It's not raining here, Johnny. I'm in West Wales at the moment, and it's not raining. It's wonderful out there. It's like summer. It's almost 23 degrees. No, I lied about that, but it is. It's amazing. We've had a dry day. Can you believe it? It's just unbelievable. And the good news is actually for most of us, it looks as if things are going to improve as well over the coming week, nay, couple of weeks, into something more winter-like. But it's looking better. So there you are. It's not all bad news, is it? Let's take a look at what the weekend has got in store. Oh, Happy New Year, by the way, everybody. Hope you had a good one. Now, this is where a weatherman has a smile on his face, because we've been predicting this cold weather now for quite a few weeks. Of course, if we hadn't been predicting the cold weather, then I wouldn't have said that. But we have been, so I'm going to make it clear to everybody that this is exactly what we said would happen. Let me show you tomorrow, though. This is the forecast chart then for Friday. We've got more of a northwesterly flow during the course of Friday. A few showers across northern western parts of Wales into western parts of Cornwall as well. Some rain probably across the far northeast of Scotland. But generally, for most of us, it should be a much better day. Decent visibility, base is about 4,000 feet or even higher. And we're looking at tops of around about 10,000 feet. Just notice on the cloud ceiling forecast here, these yellow colours are bases of 1,000 to 2,000 feet. And you see those just affecting eastern coast. But even here, it's going to get better during the course of the afternoon on Friday. Now, Saturday, high pressure. Look at that. That H means high pressure actually building in, just in case you've forgotten what an H on a chart means, having been so long since we've seen one. So that's high pressure building in. Still got low pressure up towards the north. That's going to bring northwesterly flow through northern parts of Scotland. 1 or 2 showers here. But for most of us, actually, it is going to be a fair day. A few fog patches, possibly, Wales, western parts of England, but they will clear quickly during the morning. And actually, as I say, it looks as if it's pretty decent. Base is 4,000 feet, tops 6,000 feet. Now, the more observant of you will have noticed on the cloud ceiling forecast here that we've got these colours across eastern England. So here we've got some more cloud drifting in off the sea. I think this is probably probably overplayed a little bit though, but we could see initial bases in the morning of 1,000 to 2,000 feet for the East Midlands, for East Anglia, for South East England. But I think they tend to lift as we get into the afternoon. So Saturday, not a bad day for most of us. Sunday, of course, is a little bit more of a problem. High pressure building in, lighter winds. Of course, this time of year, that does lead to a problem with fog. So I think on Sunday, need to be watching out for Scotland, Northern England, the Midlands, Wales, Southwest England, parts of Ireland, seeing some morning fog, reluctant to clear in some places into the early part of the afternoon. So just be aware of that. But eastern areas here still got the remnants of 1 or 2 fronts around. Bases probably only about 3,000 feet there, tops at 5,000 feet, but decent out towards eastern parts of England and southern parts of England as well through Sunday afternoon. And the good news is that into next week, the northeasterly wind will pick up. It drives away most of the fog. Yes, we may get a few wintry showers on eastern coast, but more western areas look as if they stay fair for much of next week as well. So it's certainly getting better. That pesky jet stream has been driven away. Still got a couple of places left on my Aviation Weather School Part 1 course. This is going to be a live online course presented live by me. You can't have everything. On the consecutive Tuesdays of the 23rd and the 30th of January between 6:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. I'll teach you all about how to do the stuff that I'm doing here, forecasting cloud bases, visibilities, things like that, up to 5 days in advance. And yeah, it'll be a good course and good fun as well. So look forward to seeing you there. But yeah, nice to bring you some good news. Have a great flying weekend. And I just hope I'm right. Fingers crossed.
Thanks very much, Simon.
Thanks.
Thank you, Simon.
Thanks. So it's time for question of the week. And this week, it's what are your aviation goals for 2024? Please put your answers in the comments, either here, if you're live, if you're watching now, or there, if you're watching on catch-up. I've been thinking about that for the last 5 minutes.
And certainly reading the comments as Simon's been doing his forecast, it sounds like most people's grass strips currently look like this.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. I think my aviation ambition for 2024 is to actually go flying, which at the moment is not looking particularly likely in the next few days, thanks to the waterlogged stuff, although we'll have to wait and see. Right, so it's 2024. If you haven't done it yet, it's time for you to join the Flyer Club. What do you get if you join the Flyer Club? Well, you get loads of stuff. You get access to all of our content. You get access to a monthly members webinar. The next one is coming up on January the 23rd. I believe we'll tell you about that, and that'll be Paddy Wagstaff talking to us all about aeros and flying and airmanship. And then in February, we got Steve Morley coming along to talk about night flying, and then we'll have a whole series of those, one a month over the next 12 months. Plus, you get free landing fees, and should you be blessed with a hard runway or fast draining grass in January and use your free landing fees, you can go to Haverfordwest, Wickham, Sherburn, and Dunk as well. So there you go. Why wouldn't you spend £5 a month on all of that? Plus, of course, you get Livestream Extra on a Wednesday afternoon, and you help support us. We love this job, but we couldn't do it for nothing, unfortunately. Bills to pay and all the rest of it. Right. Let's. I've heard from a couple of sources that our guest is on the way and should be here before too long, which is good. So for now, I've just switched into my sporties hat, and I'll be switching back to the French hat if Fred actually arrives, which I'm sure he will. Yep. Fingers crossed on that. Dave, give us some news.
Well, it's the unthinkable, really. Popp Airfield has been included in the local housing plan for Basingdean Borough Council to build Popham Garden Village, with approximately 3,000 new homes to be built. The document issued by the council says the Garden Village would need to be self-contained and sustainable as possible, with a sufficient range of facilities and services to ensure the community's needs are met. That means it's going to be a very big project. Of course, the land at the moment, the airfield at the moment, is privately owned land by the Charles Church family. And of course, under UK law, it's entirely up to them what they do with it. However, pilots and businesses based at Popham, plus various aviation organisations, are making their case for the airfield to recognise that the airfield is a fantastic resource, not just for flyers, but all the other communities, and there's loads that make use of it. I mean, at one of the events this summer, it might have been last summer, we bumped into the mayor of Basingstoke. I don't know,
it's always summer at Plymouth.
It was such a short summer. It's very easy to forget about it. But we bumped into the mayor of Basingstoke, and I asked him directly, what's going to happen to Popham? Is there going to be a housing development? And he said, not over my dead body. So maybe he's died, and it's happening.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of investment in Hangar Edge and all sorts of things, hasn't there? And there's nowhere, there is nowhere obvious for if people had to decamp from. I thought that was Fred arriving, but it's Simon popping back. Hi, Simon.
Just in case.
There's nowhere obvious for people to decamp from Popham 2 around there that I can think of, anyway. So, yeah, there you go. There's a meeting on the 9th, isn't there?
Yeah. And where do people go? In Thruxton?
Yeah.
But there's Thruxton, there's Fair Oaks, get to the north, but each one of Fair Oaks has its own problems.
Yeah.
Blackbush, I think, is pretty full. So that's not exactly close, but it's not it's not too far away. It's maybe some more farm strips in the area, but
Farnborough, that would do.
Farnborough, yes.
That would work, wouldn't it? But yeah, no, I agree with Jonathan Holland. Popham is a fantastic place. Just it hasn't got the best runways in the world. Certainly hasn't got the worst, but it's just such a friendly, easygoing. It's what you need from a GA.
Yeah, it's one of those GA gems, isn't it?
So. Yeah. I wasn't complaining about their runways. I was pointing out that it's more the spirit of the place and the welcome you get that's the important thing there. So for us to backpedal a little bit. Right. Good news from France. Certainly, if you are flying one of these, or more to the point, if you want to buy yourself one of these, you'll remember a little while ago that we announced that Robin, the manufacturing arm of Robin, had been put into administration by the Judicial Court of Dijon. Well, CEAPR, who own the type certificates and the rights, and have been sort of doing spares and all sorts of other things, effectively employed most of the people from Robin, which was just over the road from them. They are effectively owned by the same people, really. So they've employed those people, and they have announced that they will be once again building brand new Robin aircraft under the CEAPR name. That they're not likely to deliver for another 12 months, but they will be delivering new aircraft in 12 months. So if that's what you need, then go see Mistral Aviation at Elstree, or pop over and see Robin Air Raid Friedrichshafen and see what they can do.
I'm right in thinking they're still doing, CEAPR is doing their atelier service, aren't they? Where you can take an old Robin or Jodel back and have it rebuilt at the factory.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And I've just seen that Fred's arrived in the green room. So thank you very much, Fred. I'm going to take off my Sporties hat, put on my Tour de France hat. So there you go, in support. So that's good. That is good news. So Fred, if you tuned in for the interview for Fred, he will be here just before about 8 o'clock. I think we're aiming for. Anyway,
just before 8. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Right. So if you took part in our Fly 2023 campaign, which was supported thanks to Bose Aviation, UAvionics, and Continental Aerospace Technologies, you'll want to know that we'll be announcing the winner on next week's live stream. We've really been blown away by all the entries we've had in the Fly 2023 forum thread. Lots of you smashing the 2023 minutes goal, often multiple times over, and loads of you bagging plenty of airfields for the year. We can announce that the Fly 2024 challenge is a bit different this year, and it's going to have 3 aspects. One is to fly 2,000 nautical miles total. 2 is to take 2 people who've never flown before, take them flying. And the third aspect is to visit 4 destinations that are new to you. So that's 2,000 nautical miles, 2 new people introduced to flying, and 4 destinations that are new to you. So we'll be putting a forum thread up that will help you. You can post on through the year, and we'll be keeping up with that over the coming months. And to help you get started with planning of how you might fly some of those 2,000 nautical miles, we've got a new feature online looking at what we think are some of the 2024's most exciting looking shows and events. I'll stick a link to that in the comments.
Excellent. That's 2 new people to the world of general aviation, not necessarily people who haven't flown at all before. They could have flown in an airline, but they haven't seen the light yet.
Exactly. Melanie Moxon says, challenge accepted.
Excellent. Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
Dave.
So, how much do you think? Make an educated guess on the cost of maintaining one or two of the de Havilland Chipmunks that were operated by the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. Yeah, how much do you reckon? I mean, they're not the cheapest aeroplanes to maintain, but
Chipmunks are notorious. They're not cheap, but they are a fantastic flying experience. But you do pay. You know, they've got an unusual engine, which is a bit of a pound hound, isn't it? So, and they've got a few unusual inspection requirements. So, yeah, it's a few £100 an hour, I guess.
Yeah, well, what do you reckon? About 8,000 a year, including the annual, maybe 10 if you're pushed.
If it's the RAF, it's probably 20 grand a year, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
Well, you're getting closer, but not very close, because according to the latest Ministry of Defence procurement budget, the RAF is setting aside £190,000 per year per aircraft for the next 5 years.
Okay.
They've set aside a total of £1.9 million to look after these two aircraft. It works out, if you look at the number of hours they've flown in the last 5 years, 485 hours, that works out at £3,900 an hour on maintenance for each aircraft.
Wow. Okay.
Gosh.
Nick Allen says, how much?
Exactly, yes. In fact, to get some ideas about what it does cost, I spoke earlier to Phil Hall, who's business managing director of the Midland Aeroplane at London Oxford Airport. They maintain several privately owned Chipmunks. And Phil told me that the most expensive route is obviously to have it on a C of A certificate of airworthiness, and that would cost around about £3,500 for the annual, which is about 50 hours labour and 70 quid an hour, including VAT. And then maybe if you had some service bulletins, they actually call them technical news sheets on old British aircraft, but it's the same as service bulletins. You might be hit with, say, another £3,000. And if you have a really bad one, such as a tail and fin inspection, you have to take the entire tail and the fin off. Quite a lot of work involved, but that's about £3,000, including the X-rays. So altogether, that's around about £7,500 a year in routine maintenance, including the 50-hour checks and all that sort of thing. If you're unfortunate enough to need an engine, that's going to cost you £50,000. And if you need a recover and a spray job, perhaps that's going to bring it up to about £65,000. So they're not cheap aircraft, but there's a long, long way from £190,000 per year.
I think you've uncovered the real story there that you don't know. And I think that at that price, they must have been squirreling away budget to buy some more, and the red arrows are going to be replaced by the silver Chipmunk. I think we're going to see they're strutting the red suit up to the Chipmunks. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Interestingly, in the document that the Ministry of Defence have put out, it's all available on public display. It says the procurement process is competitive, so theoretically it's open to others. But in fact, the Chipmunks, along with all the other BBMF aircraft, are all maintained by their own engineering team, which is a 40-strong team, plus a 5-strong support team doing all the paperwork and stuff like that. So it's a big operation.
And I think there's a line in there as well. I think they're spending 9.6 million on the Lancaster.
Yes, you can kind of understand that.
Yeah, I can understand. 9.6 million on the Lancaster seems like a bargain for a almost unique 4-engine military Merlin-powered aeroplane.
It's not being done by MedPro and Michelle Moan, is it?
I think she's retrained and now wears a boiler suit and does annuals.
Is it an orange boiler suit? We should probably stop that, otherwise people will start complaining, won't they?
Yes.
Johnny.
Right, from Chipmunks to free money, kind of. The CAA rebate on electronic conspicuity is very slowly coming to an end. Again, it's come to an end a few times. But this could be the actual end. If you don't know about it, you can get a sort of a carry-on all aircraft fitted ADSB device, and you can get a one-off single rebate of 50% up to £250. You just need to hold a UK issued PPL, CPL, MPPL, LAPL, one of those, and you can buy your electronic conspicuity device from a retailer wherever, and all you need to do is go on the CA website, fill in a form, supply the receipt. I've done it, pretty simple. You get your rebate in, it's a few weeks I think it takes to come through, but it does work and it's worth doing, not only because you get a nice bit of technology, but you get to see other airplanes, other people can see you, increases safety. We all want to fly more, so do it if you haven't done it.
Yep. Good. Ed, I think you're up next.
Me, yes. So if you've ever been a Vans aircraft customer, then you'll have had a letter from their court agent explaining that you have until February 12th, 2024, should you wish to make a claim of any sort against the company. This is just one part of the Chapter 11 activity that's going on. They're also advertising in various locations. Further information may be obtained, and a proof of claim form can be completed and filed. And I'll stick a link in the comments for that. But that is going out to a whole bunch of, I think it's around about 40,000 people who've bought something from Vans at some time in the past. So.
Cool. Right. Last but not least, as I say, as I've just seen Fred hiding himself and coming back in the green room. But there he is. He's back.
There he is.
Last story, Fred, back with you. There was some guy, some little scrope in North Las Vegas Airport who nicked a Kit Fox, flew it 3 miles away, landed it in the field, ran away. They found in the Kit Fox a whole load of empty beer cans and a smoked joint on the floor, which was clearly not the right way to do things at all. It turns out that this guy was caught and arrested. It turns out that's the third aircraft he's nicked from North Las Vegas. So
wow.
a bit of an issue, a systemic issue there they need to deal with.
Yep.
Yeah, not a good thing. And it's pretty rare that aircraft get stolen, at least in, maybe not in parts of South America, but we won't go there either. Right.
Yeah.
On that note, I think it's time to bring on Fred. So there's a little bit of chucking around there.
Oh, hang on. There we go.
There you go. There you go, Fred. Thank you very, very much for joining us. People would have seen you before if you were on here before, but if not, a little quick recap. Since then, you've done a couple of things, including writing a book. So I believe you were born in Tunisia, grew up in Senegal, decided to learn to fly helicopters when someone bundled you into an Alouette when you were 8. A couple of other things that I learned that I'm not sure, I need to check whether they're actually true or not. Your great-great-great-grandfather was the Prime Minister of the UK. I have to say that doesn't sound particularly likely, but we'll talk to you about that in a minute. You managed to you broke Father Christmas's legs in Paris delivering presents. You have the world record for altitude at 42,500 feet in a single squirrel, or A-star, I guess it would be called over there.
Yeah.
Which is a bit mad. Someone decided to hold you at gunpoint in Egypt. And apart from all your filming stuff, you're also chief pilot for a whole bunch of the Paris-Dakar rallies.
That's kind of a good summary. Yes.
So tell me, the Prime Minister bit. I've got to ask this: was that just the kind of thing that you thought I'll sneak into the book and see if anyone notices, or
no? So my mom. So first of all, my last name, right? So North, but my parents, they're French, so they say North, right? So for me, I never really understood as a young kid that North was North. And anyway, when we get more as an adult, my mom made some research, and then she found through my family, my dad is coming from the east of France, from Alsace. And that family came from the UK, from England, in around the 16th century. So then she made some research in England, and she found a connection between that and that guy, the Lord North, that was a thief apparently, and he stole money and went from England to the east of France because he was chased. So look, she didn't really check the deep. But there was connection to that. So that's all I know.
Okay.
You know,
I think
and
that's a good story, and I think if he stole money, he was definitely the prime minister, because that's kind of.
and
Excuse me,
definitely,
allegedly.
yeah, and definitely, yes, he could be French too. Yeah.
Absolutely, and so I mean, we'll get on to some of the more recent flying you've done in a bit, but did Father Christmas really break his legs?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was not good. But look, you know, the chief pilot should have never put me there, even if it's my mistake, of course. But I never done long line in my life, and then they just, you know, we were doing that back in the days and in the 80s, and then, you know, I kind of fucked up. But he didn't die.
I think, you know, to be fair to Fred, this is clearly not something he would do now. But if he could do it now, I'm sure he would deliver Father Christmas perfectly on a little, right on top of a Christmas tree. Precision.
It's just to explain to the audience that, you know, they see my social media and I think I will never make mistakes. Or so it's just to put things into perspective that you do a lot of mistakes, and even as of today, I still do some, but I manage them a little bit better than back then. So it's just to put that into context, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the first part of the book goes through you kind of growing up in Senegal and then moves to your kind of flight training in Paris, and the route that you took through flight training in Paris is not dissimilar to the route many people take at the beginning of their careers. You know, you switching between jobs, getting lucky breaks, washing aeroplanes, and doing other bits and pieces. Some of which led to you owning a clothing brand at one point, I believe, and selling aviator jackets and bits and pieces like that.
Passionate about those, you know, whatever tied to aviation, and then yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the book's a great read. I think one of the things that I'd like to know a little bit more about is your altitude record. I mean, I know you got up to 42,500 feet in South Africa, but reading it wasn't just a case of flying up to 42,500 feet. There was clearly that kind of felt like it affected you a little bit.
Oh, it did affected me because, you know, the problem, you make a decision in your life and then you stick to the plan. The problem is I was 40 years old, and at 40 as a man, you know, you buy a Porsche or you divorce or there's something that is going to happen usually.
You had a Porsche, didn't you?
Yes, but later, you know. Anyway, at that time, I really needed something to rebuild my confidence as a man, in a sense. But so I wanted to do like something unique in aviation, and in helicopter, it's not that easy to do, you know. So first, I wanted to land on the Everest. But then when I look into it, it was too complicated to get the permission because they're disputing who owns the roof of the world, right? So I let that go, and then I decided to do the altitude record. It took me 2 years to find the proper equipment and get to the motion of it, get the trust of the guy, Jean Boulet, that did it, you know, before, and he went to 39,000 feet. And then Airbus didn't want to help me, and so I was on my own and found the money. So anyway, it was a journey. So, but at the time when I did the prep, I did not understand really why, you know, really the effort and the mental challenge that it would bring to me. I thought it was just making a decision, stick to the plan, do it, done. But when I was just before doing it that morning, it was a Saturday, 6 a.m., something like that. Just before doing it, that's when I'm thinking, you know, why on earth I putting myself to this? Like I was really scared and all that stuff. And that's when you need to build strength, you know. But and in the book, I was trying to be as detailed as possible for the climb and the descent. The climb was a little bit hectic, but the 4 minutes down was crazy. And I hope, you know, we reflected in the book correctly. But when I landed and had a physical breakdown, that's when I realized, you know, I didn't understand that I could hit my threshold. Like I always had no mercy for people that have not depression, but I was not necessarily super kind, not understanding why people are so weak. And then when I did that and I had my threshold and I had a breakdown, I'd cried for 45 minutes because it was just too much. And that's everything's put back into context. So that world record really taught me a lot, I have to say. Yeah.
So if tomorrow somebody went and did 42,550 feet, you wouldn't be tempted to go and do 42,600 feet?
Absolutely not. Because, at 40, I think a guy has the maturity of a 25 years old woman. And at 62, I think I have the maturity of 40, but I'm done. I'm good.
I mean, just when you get to 42,500 feet, I mean, that's got to be an immense feeling of loneliness, or
yeah. It's
isolation.
As soon as you pass the 20,000 feet marker, it's empty. Like it's it's not that you're in the sky, but in a helicopter you so fragile. Like usually you're in an aircraft, like a jet, and you can feel the power and it gives you confidence. In the helicopter, it's plastic and everything is shaking and vibration, and plus of course, I was pretty not scared, but I was, it was intense, and I was not sure that what I was doing was right. So it's all those things that goes through your mind. So yeah, it was a lot of loneliness.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll come back to the gunpoint story at some point, and we'll come back to some of the rally flying you did. Before we move on to the film stuff, actually, do you miss the rally flying? Because it seems, in many ways, they're similar disciplines, but in other ways, a completely different discipline to the film.
I mean, I love doing it like a couple of days here and there. I don't miss the 3 weeks, sleeping in a helicopter or between the skids in the sand and not, try to find a shower for a week, because all those things I don't really miss. But the flying itself, it's very organic. Like it's very, it's just you and the cameraman in the back with the camera on the shoulder. I miss that a little bit. Now I do it once in a while. I did some training for the Paris-Dakar pilots in Saudi Arabia last year. So I went there for a week and trained them and did the testing for the Dakar in Saudi Arabia. So it was pretty cool, loving it for sure.
So last time you came on, you were saying that there were, obviously I think you'd written the book, or you were still about to finish the book. The book wasn't out yet, and you were saying there was some of the film stuff that you were doing that there you go, for it. Flying Sideways, great read, and we've got a link to that somewhere that Ed, I'm sure we'll pop into the description. You said there were some things that you couldn't tell us about, so that you're filming on. I'm guessing that was the helicopter scene on the train that you were referring to in the book.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. It was because I was right in the middle of it. So yes, so that was for Extraction 2, and that particular sequence. It just, when the director called me and he said he wanted the most badass helicopter and train sequence, and he didn't know how to put it. He just told me, we're going to have 3 helicopters. What can we do? And I said, what do you have in mind? And then he said he wanted to maybe come on the helicopter, on the train going at 60 miles an hour. And he wanted to have one of the helicopter, repelling 5 guys off the helicopter while the train is moving on the train roof. And when he told me that, I said, to me, that's a bit boring. It's been done. It's like, it's easy to do. I say, we need something more challenging. And so I said, why we don't land on the train, at 60 miles an hour? And then we offload the guy and then we do a badass exit. Oh, he said, great. But the problem is when I give that idea is almost a year before we do the actual stunt. And when I say it, it's an idea. The problem is they're taking it like it's a contract sign, like we're going to do it. So then after I hang up the phone, it's like, shoot, I'm thinking we can do it. It's in your mind as a pilot. Yes, you think you can do it, but as we all know, reality is a different thing. So after I hang up the phone, I called my team and I said, what do you guys think? And there was plenty theory, some guys wanted me to land, sideways on the train because it's not wide enough to put the two skids. I didn't realize that the train is only like 8.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
When he's back. Here we go.
Hang on a second.
Oh,
Yep.
there we go. Oh, no.
There you go. Let's just swap place. There you go. Sorry.
Okay.
He's back.
So I didn't understand, all the technical data on the train. So anyway, back and forth for 8 months, because where I'm going to train that, there's no way to train it. So I told production I will need to practice before we do the filming. And then they said, well, it's not easy to find a track with no wires. You need to find a diesel locomotive, so it's not electric, You need to find a place where there's no trees. So forget the UK, forget France, like where we're going to go. So they found one in Australia, but it was during COVID. So then I told them I need 45 seconds to do the approach, land on the train, offset the guys and leave. But then the problem is there was COVID. So Australia said, you can't do it there. We went to Czech Republic, close to Prague. They found a piece, but they forgot to mention it's only 22 seconds clear of trees. And then they didn't say anything. So when I went there and I did the scout the first time, I said, but this is very small, like it's short. And the director said, yeah, but it looks great. They don't understand. And I said, well, and at that point, they already spent $5 million. They bought the train cars. They bought the tracks for the 2 months period. I mean, the machine is going. So they self-induced pressure. They're not pressuring me at all, but you know what I mean? You do it yourself when you know all the consequences of your stupid idea. And then I told them, okay, so give me a decommissioned runway for 3 weeks. Give me a flatbed truck. Let's put the train car on the flatbed and let's practice with that truck, which we did. So we started at 20 miles an hour, 30, 40, 50, 60. We went all the way to 80 miles an hour, and 60 was the best speed. And it was a little bit tricky at the beginning because there's stuff we didn't think about. I knew the balance was going to be complicated because you go with 5 guys, but you put one skid and then they get out to the right side and how the machine is going to react. But the problem was when the skid was on the roof, on the train roof, because it's metal against metal, it was sliding, and then I was getting limited on the control. So there were some scary moments there. We figured it out, changed the balance. And at the end, it worked like a charm. Long story short. It was, interesting.
that scene which I watched, and I think the helicopter, if I remember rightly, pulled off to the left. I think you call that your badass exit or whatever it was. But it at least in the final version, it didn't look like the trees were that far away when you pulled off to the left.
Yeah. So what happened is because of those 22 seconds, when we practiced on the decommissioned runway, we could do it in 18 seconds. So we only had 2 seconds on each end. And because when I'm landing on the train, I cannot see in front of me because I have to look down on the train, with the skid. And what we did, we put a tape on the train. So I had a marker, a reference cue to put the skid. So I knew I was lined up correctly for them to get out and have the space and not to be too close to the edge. So I was not looking at the trees. So I had one guy in front of the train with the radio, one guy in the back, and he was telling me when to leave. And I told the stunt guys, at any point, if I leave and you are on the jumping on the exit, you have to make a decision. You in or out. But I don't care if whatever you do, I'm out. So to a point, I was 2 seconds late. And the last guy, and the thing is, you have to understand, when I'm in the helicopter, I don't see what's behind me. I'm so focused on the landing part that I only feel the weights shifting, but I don't see those guys. I don't know if they're all out, So anyway, the last guy, so I was 2 seconds late, and he was maybe half a second late, which means the tree were pretty close. So my guy say, action. When he said that, I had to leave. But the guy in the back doesn't hear that because he had the radio, but the helicopter noise and everything. He was he has his foot on the way out, and then I left. The guy went 12 feet up in the air and he landed perfectly center on the train. And the thing is, I felt his weight. Like I felt, him, when there's somebody behind you, but you can't see it. And I say, shit, in my head. So I tried to take off, more vertically than sideways, but it's 2.5 tons. And on my way out, not much I can massage at the point. But, he landed perfectly centered. And that was a scary moment. We did put nets under the mid-level from the train, like 3 feet nets on each side, just in case one guy was falling, he could land in the net. But that was just a scary moment. But apart that, everything went perfectly well.
If it's not giving away any secrets, how many takes of that do you have to do?
So it's always the same way. So to do the practice, we did 80 landings on the train, and on the shoot day, we did 2 landings. It's always like that,
Wow.
because we minimize the risk when we have the crew. So when we're just a stunt on us, we all technician, we all, on the case, we're not, our focus is not on the creative part. It's focused on the stunt itself, how we're going to manage it, the protocol, the risk assessment. But when we do the shoot, all those things cannot be on the surface. We do it, but, it's not, we have to focus on the camera. So that's why we minimize that risk at that moment. So we just do 2 and then 80. It's the ratio.
It's an incredible amount of time, planning, presumably paperwork and permissions, practice, finding an airfield, finding a train track, buying some trains, putting on nets and stuff like that. What becomes, no matter how great the scene is when it's filmed, it's still a scene that lasts, in that case, I don't know, whatever it is in total, it's a 40 seconds.
Yeah.
It's just, I struggle to get my head around the amount of effort that goes into just a few seconds of, I don't know. And clearly that wasn't the cheapest few seconds of the film either.
No, but what happened is you have to understand that if they put the effort and the money and the reality of the action in our piece, so for us it's only 40 seconds, but if they do that for the 2 hours of the show, then the movie becomes spectacular because everything is authentic, everything is real. The audience can connect with the characters, with the action. They know it's real. Instead of faking, put CG and put, computer graphics and stuff, and then the audience don't connect. And, that's the big difference between a big movie and a small movie where everything is fake. And then, it is what it is. So to me, I'm always fighting for reality, and I'm trying to do what I can for my piece to be real. I did another crazy piece for the next Beverly Hills Cops 4 with Eddie Murphy that is going to be released July 4th. And in that film, they released the trailer, so I can talk a little bit about it. They asked me to fly with the helicopter in the car traffic downtown Los Angeles. So I'm literally half a foot off the road, and I'm between cars. Wow. So, and when the director says, Fred, is that a problem? But he's asking you, is that a problem to go play tennis tomorrow? In their mind, it's not like they don't understand all the complexity behind it. Can you fly your helicopter between cars, in a street downtown LA? Say, I guess we can, but it's going to take a little bit. So to give you an idea, in that sequence, that was extremely complex for me because there's 10 cars a foot from me. I love some videos crazy that I cannot post now because it's not out yet, but it's insane, and for 1 second in the film, it's 1 month of prep for that sequence, to give you an idea. We blocked the whole downtown Los Angeles for 2 days, blocked 11 blocks, so half a mile by half a mile, no public. They bought all the businesses, they went to every street, and they say, how much you make this weekend? 10 grand, here the money. How much you do that restaurant, the dinner? 20 grand, here it is. So we bought all the businesses, shut it down, no public access, and we did the gag. And you'll see the movie, and you'll tell me if you like it.
And so, when you're talking about landing on trains and flying around traffic and other mad stuff. That kind of gives the impression, if you read it and if you talk about it, that basically whatever a director says to you, you say, yeah, we can do that. Have there been times when you've gone, you know what? No.
In fact, the thing is, a director is in his own bubble. Okay, so he's not connected to reality. So if you say no to the guy for every idea he has, it's going to be difficult for him to do the movie. So our job is to support it. Now, a lot of time, in fact, almost each time they give me an idea, I do it my way, not their way. And I keep in mind, you know, how they want to structure the creative of it. But I do change a lot of things. Like for the train sequence, we changed the way the machine was approaching. We changed the way the exiting of the aircraft. And I changed also the aircraft type. They wanted the bigger machine. I said that was not the wrong one, the good one, you know, it was the wrong one. And we changed a lot of things. He wanted 8 guys in the machine. I said I can take 5. So I changed things on the way. But I don't say no. I offer alternative and I offer, you know, creative solution that will work for him and for me. Because if you say no, you know, the movie, I mean, everybody can say no. It's easy to say no. But like I'm prepping a show for this year, and they want me to fly inside like a structure. And there's a chase with some cars inside a building. And they give me ideas of building they want. It's not going to work for me, but I will say, can't do it in this one, but I can do it in this one. So that's kind of things that, you know, we do.
On that note, Fred, is there any stunt that you've sat down and thought, I really want to do that, but no one's asked me to do it yet?
Of course. Yeah, of course. I'm usually the one to give them ideas because they don't know what can be done and what cannot be done. Yeah. So flying inside a structure, I told them, that what can we do, you know, and then they say, great. So then they take that piece and they put it into the script, you know, even if it was not. Did you guys watch the movie Ambulance, the chasing with the helicopters? It's a Michael Bay movie. It's an action movie. It's a chase with Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's a pretty cool action movie. It's called Ambulance. Anyway, well, while we were shooting downtown LA, and we did that movie 2 years ago. And there's a great helicopter piece in there in the LA River. And we were not supposed to go into the LA River. We were supposed to stay in the street. And then I told the director, why we're not going into the LA River, flying under the bridges, there's power lines, it's going to look awesome, we can go under there. And then he said, well, Fred, it's not in the script. And I said, well, who gives a shit? Put it in. You know, and then he said, well, you Frenchie, you know, and then basically he kind of disregarded me. And then 2 weeks after, the producer called me and he said, oh, Fred, you know, the director has a great idea. We're going to go to the LA River. I said, super cool. You know, at the end, we're just here to support. And we went to the LA River. And if you Google it, ambulance helicopter sequence, you're going to see what I'm talking about. It's awesome. You see the helicopters that are like 5 feet off the ground, the water splashing, and it was in the trailer, on all the board. It's in the movie. It was awesome. So yes, we do create, you know, a little bit.
So having gone through the sort of the shuttle flying around Monaco and stuff like that, and the Father Christmas deliveries, and a spell in the mountains, dropping building stuff off, and all the rest of it, and you're now the rally stuff, and you're now kind of well ensconced in that circle of helicopter pilots who work in the movies in LA. Are you where you want to be now?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. But now the thing is, because the nature of the work, you know, we do, it's not easy. So because I'm not in a cruising mode at all. I am where I want to be, but I have to be very careful. I have a lot of liability on my shoulders. And each time we do a stunt, you know, it's not like a fun thing to do. It's fun when it's done. It's fun when we prep it. When I do it itself, it's heavy. You know, like there's so many things that can go wrong. I can make mistakes. You know, I'm very humble the way to approach the stunt we have to do, the sequence, the scene, because my responsibility is huge. the studio wants to be safe. They have no problem put the money and everything, but you want to be safe. I want to be safe. I have 3 kids, I have 2 cats that I love, I want to be back home. So I'm not interested to, go in flame. Not interested. I want to be in my bed, sleep, and fuck it, So not interested. So, I am where I want to be, but I'm trying to do more challenging stuff for the audience and do it safely, which is not, necessarily easy to do. That's why it takes a lot of time and effort and mental, prep.
Do you think you'll ever train like a protege to take to take over from you? Maybe
it's not easy to do because the nature of the job. So to me, I have pilots that fly with me and we do it together, and we're like a family. All the team, we've been together 20 years and 25 years, and we do things together. We make decisions together. It's not a one-man band. But so a protege like that, it's a tough one because it's so risky. I don't want to teach somebody and then he's going to have an accident. So to me, the person has to come on his own, because it has to be his decision. I have no problem to give guidance. I have no problem I'm responding to 3-4 emails a day to pilots that send me messages how to do this, give guidance. I'm not, I'm super generous of my time for that, and I'm happy to do it. And it's one of the reasons I did the book, to give guidance to those young pilots. And because it's difficult as a helicopter pilot, I think, through the groove of your career. So at the beginning, you don't know what you want to be. Maybe a rescue pilot, but you don't even know what that is. You want to be a offshore pilot, in the Gulf of, you don't know what that is. I'm sure it's the same for plane, but so you do that at the beginning, you need guidance. Then when you have 2,000 hours, you're becoming a little bit more, experienced. Now you go to a different phase, and then you have nobody to talk. Okay, then you go to 5,000 hours, you're 40 years old. Again, you're doing more stuff, but then you get bored, or you get to a routine of flying and you don't know who you can talk to. So I'm working on a program, a mentorship program, that I'm going to do in 24. And the way it's going to work is like that. So it's going to be 20 ambassador pilots, 2 in each segment. So 2 for rescue, 2 high mountains flying, 2 for filming, 2 for firefighting, etc., etc. 2 for the Coast Guard, and so 2 in each segment. And those guys will choose the mentors. So let's say you're a pilot and you want to be part of the program. So those ambassadors will pick you up and make sure that you can follow, depending on your time, 1 pilot, 2 pilot, 10 pilots, whatever you agree to support. Like for me, I think I will take 10 guys. And you will follow those 10 guys from the moment they contact you all the way to whatever you go off this planet. So you will know those person. And as a pilot to pilot, you can give them guidance with no judgment. Like, let's say you are flying for a medevac job in the US. And let's say you want to go to the UK because you have a new job, you have a EASA license, and you want to be a film pilot, let's say. Who is going to ask questions? Let's say he does get the job in the UK and then he has a big film work. And then he doesn't want to ask his chief pilot, do you think I should do this? Do you think I have to do that? Because he may be worried that the chief pilot will judge him like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. But he can call me and then he say, Fred, you have to do this sequence. And then I can give him a mentor, ideas. I can say, be careful with this and do that. Same for high mountains. You'll need to land on a high mountain and it's a windy day. He can call and say, hey, he can call Gerald from Air Zermatt. He's the king over there. Hey, Gerald, what do you think? And he will say, where are you going? Forget it. Or yes, you can do it. But, I think we can increase safety in the helicopter world with the big mentor program. So I'm really going to dedicate time and effort and money this year to make it happen.
Wow. Cool. That's absolutely fantastic. So, any more books in the pipeline, or just the one?
I'm not a writer. So you have to understand, I'm a pilot, so non-educated, no college, don't know how to write. Okay, so luckily for me, my wife will write. So she did all the interviews, and we did it with my logbook, the 13 logbooks that I have, and then so I want first to this one to be read, and all the pilots. I'm doing a lot of book signing. I'm doing speaking events, and I'm trying to explain the reason I did the book. But yes, I think I will do another one more technical, because this one is more for anyone that wants to have ideas how to succeed in his life and the challenges, and people say no to you, and how you understand the no, so all those things. So well, yes, I think I'll do something else.
Brilliant. Well, I'm afraid we're out of time, but we'd like to say thank you very much for your time. Thanks for, again, fascinating. Have we got any questions that we need to quickly get in there from the...
No, I think we're all pretty well covered off. There's just lots of people saying Fred's a star. So
thank you.
Fred,
someone did say, I would like to try and get insurance for Fred.
It's not a problem. I have the same insurance guy for 20 years. It's just sometime when I post something and he said, Fred, why my underwriter is going to kill me. But I said, that's your crap. Deal with it.
Yeah, so he probably lives on the edge as well, doesn't he? But anyway, thank you very much. We look forward to talking to you in the future, either the next book or next set of films or something like that. And it's been an absolute pleasure as usual.
Yeah. My pleasure.
Thank you, Fred.
Yeah. Thank you.
Enjoy your lunch in Los Angeles or wherever you are.
Yeah. I mean, Hawaii. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to read that book.
Yeah. Skydriller says, I feel so humbled hearing about Fred's exploits. I hesitate to mention spending a day with my son, a film student, flying with a friend to get some footage for him of an aeroplane in flight. Wow.
Yeah.
And Dave White said, Fred's surely an A-star.
Yeah. And A-star is the American name for squirrel, because they figured that it was a bit more gung-ho and apple pie and stuff like that. A-star.
And what's the correct way to pronounce squirrel in French, Ian?
Écureuil.
Yeah.
Écureuil.
Yeah.
Very good. So, Fancy Hanger, this week, for no other reason than it popped into our heads, we decided to pick aeroplanes that had been given extreme modifications. So, who's first?
I think. Well, we have got the order in there, but I think we're going to go Dave first.
Okay.
Right. I guess probably because I've not chosen the one with the most extreme mods. I've gone for a Basler DC3. This is the DC3 with its rotary engine taken out and some turbines put in place. PT6s, Pratt & Whitney PT6s. Plus, I'm going to have it on skis, just like here. I just think that's a fantastic mix.
I don't know. It looks it's a bit extreme, Dave. There's a bit of snow on the ground.
That would be quite good fun flying a DC3 on skis, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's a good mod.
It is. I'm going to jump in now with my one because, like Dave's, I'm going to permit myself to say mine's a little bit of a vanilla choice, like Dave. So, all remember this? This is the Ted Smith / Piper Aerostar, one of the fastest, if not the fastest, piston twins. Probably the 700 series, top something like 260 knots. Great aeroplanes. Not the most forgiving because of that little thin wing, but a lovely airplane. An airplane that I wish I'd had an opportunity to own at some point. Which, anyway, someone came along, thought it would be a great idea to take those and stick a couple of jet engines under the wings. These are the Pratt & Whitney engines from the Mustang. And that, believe it or not, I'm a bit worried about this, but that it will fly at flight level 400, so 40,000 feet, at which it will do on full power at 400, just over 400 knots. So no slouch. Looking at that at sort of flight level 400 with those big windows, I'm a little bit concerned about the pressurization. It's like, really?
Yeah.
But I reckon there you go. That's my modification. Strap on a couple of jet engines and whoops.
That is a very cool. Yeah,
it looks great.
That's an extremely strong choice. That is a very cool aeroplane.
I must admit, I did spend 10 minutes today looking at Aerostars for sale, I would really like to own an aeroplane. Engines. But they, I think you're looking at $300,000 in the States. I'm kind of wondering, not that I've got $300,000, but if I could buy one of those, fly it out there for 6 months, and then sell it again at the end of that 6 months, would I lose very much? Well, I don't know.
Probably, because it's an Aerostar.
It's an Aerostar, yeah. So anyway, that will just remain a dream. Right. Ed.
Me. So I went for this. This is the turbine toucan. So underneath that, that's a regular Pitts model. Well, it started as a Pitts Model 12, which is a pretty cool aeroplane, but the builders of that, and Pitts Model 12 is normally 360 horsepower Videnia radial. The Toucan's powered by a 750 shaft horsepower Walter 601 turbine. It weighs 2,000 pounds, but it's got 3,300 pounds of thrust. So it can accelerate in a vertical climb indefinitely. Initial testing. So it's an interesting story. The aeroplane was finished in 2008, just as a credit crunch hit. So it didn't find the sponsors that it needed for the display season. So it's never really been seen very much, and probably hasn't really been used to its full potential yet. Initial testing yielded an 8,400 foot per minute climb rate at 50% power.
Wow.
So, but a new owner has it, and I believe there's a chance it may appear on the airshow circuit this year. The Toucan's famous for being the sound of Dusty Crop Hopper from the Disney movie Planes.
I mean, the climb rate of 8,000 feet a minute that is quite a lot. Is astounding. But it's not very good in the display scene, is it? You come past with your whistling turbine, you point the nose upwards and accelerate, and then 20 seconds later, no one can see you anymore. You're out of there. Things
it can do against reverse thrust as well. So,
those wings have been locked off, haven't they? They're much.
Yeah, they're quite squared off. Yeah. And I've got to say, anything called the Turbine Toucan, that's a good laugh.
Wasn't the toucan? Wasn't that the Guinness mascot bird?
Yes. Yeah.
Johnny.
So that just leaves Johnny.
Yeah, right. I've gone for something called Double Take, which some of you will probably know, and it's built by a guy called Craig Hoskins in the US. He built this in what year was it? 85. It first flew, and he flew it for a week the right way up, and then he did his first ever upside down landing in it. I think this was a later version, which obviously became known as Bose Double Take, and he built it with a guy called Dan Sorensen, and they had all sorts of welders, draftsmen, really good builders involved in making this thing work, because it needed to work. He toured the airshow scene, flew it at Oshkosh, displayed there, and was admitted to the International Stunt Association of Hollywood as one of the top stuntmen. It's probably something that Fred North is either in or will be in at some point. But it's a great machine. I think what a ingenious way of modding an aeroplane.
Yeah, and that is definitely that is the wildest choice and deserves to win. If you search around on YouTube, you can find videos of him displaying. And I think he used to. There was an instance where they would put him in the aeroplane. I think they did try to put him in the aeroplane upside down as well, so he could take off. He would start the show by taking off upside down. So that's been one of the biggest risks, is that you fall out of the aeroplane.
I mean, that is because the Pitts is never going to be the easiest aeroplane to land the right way up anyway, is it?
Maybe it's easier upside down.
At least you can see the ground, I guess.
When you can feel the ground when you can feel, it's not the air in your hair, it's the tarmac.
Yeah. So Chris Winch says Dave wins despite the fact that he mentions. Now I know he calls you out on the fact that Dave mistakenly did say that the Dakota had rotary engines.
Yes.
which obviously that would be like the Sopwith Camel. Now that would be an extreme modification in the Dakota. So
there's no way that would fly, is there? Really?
No.
But yeah, so there's definitely a Dave wins. There's actually quite a few Dave wins. A few people are liking the turbine. Oh, there's a very clever here. Annabelle says Johnny wins. That's bonkers with her upside down comment. Dave wins tonight because DC3. Harry Scott says the International What Association.
Yeah,
Stunt.
Yeah. As Ed says, you can actually see where you're going upside down. Yeah, Johnny wins. Johnny wins. I think if I had to vote for someone, I wouldn't vote for myself. I'd vote for Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's a good blast from the past and a good find.
I think I'd vote for Johnny on to be honest.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to see the toucan at Oshkosh this year.
I think once it gets sorted, I think that's one place we can expect to see it. So yeah,
that would be good. Would be good. We'll see that, and Jimmy from Jimmy's World's Elvis jet on his RV trailer as well.
Well, that's an extreme modification in itself.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, right, events, Dave. We've overshot on our first show at 24.
Yeah,
give us some quick events.
Yep. So a couple of events this weekend. The 6th and 7th of weekend, there's a brass monkey flying at North Coast, and judging by the weather forecast, it will be. And also at North Weald on Sunday, there's a New Year flying. So that's going to be cold as well, but it looks flyable.
It is January.
Yep.
Put some extra layers on, and you'll be fine. That's what I say. Right, on that basis, I think congratulations to Johnny for winning this week. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great flight if you manage to get flying. I think the weather's getting better, but hopefully you can find a hard runway. Otherwise, it's going to be bloody muddy. See you next week on Wednesday. Oh, I won't because I'm not here on next Wednesday, but see you next week on Thursday. And have a good one. Thank you very much for joining, and thanks, Fred and Simon, for helping. Thanks, team. Have a good one.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.